Properties in every Australian city have gone up to astronomical values. The same has been happening in the country, and if you believe our property market is dramatically overpriced, and if you are waiting for a huge shake-up so your children can buy their family home at a much lower price, I don't think this is going to happen. Australian property prices might drop by 10% or so, and then it will continue its usual upwards trend again in some point in the future. This is what property experts predict. With an average property price in major Australian cities close to $1 million and regional dwellings over 600,000, obviously there are some discrepancies between Australian states, but it is becoming harder and harder for your children to enter the housing market. So no wonder that many parents are contemplating helping their children. But a simple act of trying to help your children to buy their first family home can have incredibly negative impact on you if done incorrectly. And this is exactly what we are discussing today. My name is Catherine Eastbrand from About Retirement. I'm certified financial planner and you are watching About Retirement TV, the place to get all the information you need when getting ready for your retirement. So if you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you are trying to pre-plan your future retirement, you are in the right place. But this is also for you if you have already retired and would like to find ways of improving your retirement, income, assets, government support, but also all the other financial and life problems you might face in that phase of your life. There are a number of issues you have to review and research before you proceed with any financial support for your kids, especially when considering a property purchase which requires a major financial commitment or expense on your part. Number 1, do not give the property. Never ever give your kids the full ownership to the property as a gift. You have just taken away the main part of learning of how to become a responsible adult. I know that sometimes it is a cultural thing, but we all need to learn how to budget, how to be responsible for our mortgage, how to live within our means, not to mention the personal satisfaction of self-achievement. We don't value things given to us as much as what we personally achieve through hard work, dedication, and daily responsibility. Helping and caring is one thing, but giving it all on a platter is not character building and can actually create more harm than good in the long run. Number 2, family dynamics. If you have more than one child, then financial assistance might be a little bit more difficult or more complex. You need first to consider if you are able to provide a similar assistance to each of your children. You cannot help one and not the other. That is just creating a family conflict and resentment. If one child has a particular problem now and you feel that your help is more appropriate there, then have an open conversation with your children to let them know and make an agreement. Then the other child knows that he or she will be compensated later on. Your financial help needs to be fair, whether you are assisting now, in years to come, or through the will on distribution of your estate. But all parties involved need to know it and agree to it, so there is no hard feelings between family members. Sometimes I do hear parents say, I will help my daughter because she's close to us, she's staying in touch, she cares. But we don't want to help our son, who is a disaster of a person, moved out. He doesn't even bother to call and see how we are doing. I can understand how you feel, but from the legal standpoint, both children have to be treated equally. And if you help one, or even worse, if you leave your full estate to one child and not the other, this is a legal challenge waiting to happen. So always be fair and open to protect your family relationships. Number 3, financial strategies to help. Let's now go over strategies that are available to you if you wish to assist your children in buying their first home. A gift. This is most likely the simplest way to provide financial assistance to your children. Generally, there are no tax consequences, you don't need to set up any legal structures, but once you give the money, it's gone. So don't include it in your retirement planning later on. Please think twice, however, before giving money away, as I know many retirees who regret the decision in later years of their lives. The main issues are, well, you may run out of money and you may not afford the lifestyle you used to enjoy before. A big drawback is if your child's relationship breaks down. Be aware that your child's partner will be entitled to half of that money that you gifted. If your child is running a business and the business fails, then there is a very high probability that creditors will be entitled to your money. So in most cases, gifting is nice and easy, but you have to be aware of all those risks. Loan. There is a very similar option, but at least there should be a legal agreement between you and your child. Agreement should specify all agreed terms of the loan, such as, for example, level of repayments. Well, if you don't want to receive any repayments, you can do that, but it is still an option and it should be listed in the agreement. Interest rate. If you want to charge interest rate, you can, but you don't have to. Repayment term. You can specify the time when the loan is to be repaid in full or in parts. This is your private agreement and you make up the rules, but the biggest benefit is that you have the right to recall the money, and it is one simple trick to keep money within the family unit in case of your child's marriage ending in divorce. And you can forgive the loan on your death. This is another option available to parents. The main drawback of the loan is that it has to be a legal agreement, which might be a little bit costly exercise, but if you don't do it, the whole idea to help children might end disastrous for you. And then you can become a guarantor. Very often parents would like to help, but they just simply don't have enough cash sitting around in a bank account. And please do not withdraw your life savings from your superannuation fund. This is your retirement income stream. Therefore, another option to use is yours, meaning parents' family home as a guarantee for children's home loan if they don't have sufficient deposit. But before you jump into this option, always be aware of drawbacks and consequences. If your child, for example, cannot meet loan repayments, you will be required to meet them. You might be even required to pay off the loan in full if your child defaults. Therefore, before you jump into setting up this solution, first you should really check how responsible your child is with money and with savings. Also, and this should be imposed on your children, to have appropriate insurance in place to cover the outstanding loan with you as the beneficiary of life insurance. Another policy to insist to be put in place is income protection and disability cover. This way, if any health or life drama strikes, at least finances of both parents and children will not be sacrificed or diminish altogether. Then you face a similar problem as discussed before in gifting money to your children. If you become a guarantor and the property is purchased on both names, your child's and partner's name, if that relationship fails, your child will lose half of the house, but you as a guarantor will remain liable for the full value of the loan. Obviously, don't forget that becoming a guarantor will reduce your own capacity to borrow. Hence, if later you would like to buy a new car, rental property, or borrow funds to fix your family home, you might find additional borrowing quite challenging, if not impossible. And then there is an option of buying together. Some parents are very happy to buy a property together with their child as a joint ownership, either directly on their name or through the family trust structure. The idea is that the child will slowly over time or later in life in one lump sum buy out the full property to take on the full ownership of that property. The problem in here is, well, your child will not be eligible for the first homeowner grant. Also, on transfer of property to the child later on in life, parents will have to pay capital gains tax, which might be quite considerable due to property growth over time. And it might come at the time when you have already retired, and it might be a bill you just simply cannot afford. Also, the property transfer could be subject to stamp duties, another unintentional big bill to pay. Number 4, other issues to consider. As you can see, each option has some negatives, so I suppose your job is to do your due diligence of which one of those options is the most suitable, has the least negative impact on you and your future financial plans. Before you start setting everything up, first consider doing the following. Number 1, have an open conversation with your child or your children about your situation and all points mentioned today, together with all the negative impacts such assistance may have on you. Number 2, get proper legal advice. Number 3, get full financial advice, not only about how I can help, but also how to protect myself. As well as if you are nearing retirement and you wish to be eligible for age pension, each of those options will have a different impact on your age pension eligibility. This will be explained in a separate video. Number 4, discuss with financial planner all essential life insurance policies your child needs to have in place. This will introduce financial security for both of you. Well, this was a very heavy subject, but necessary to discuss and explain, as I see often mistakes that parents make. They want to assist their children, help their children, and later on they end up with negative effects that will impact the rest of their lives. This is obviously still a very general explanation, as every situation is different. Therefore, I strongly recommend to always receive a proper professional advice to mitigate any possibility of things going wrong. If you found this video a bit confrontational, I'm very happy, as it means it opened your eyes to things you might have not considered before. Feel free to leave comments or questions below my video. I do try to reply to all of them as soon as I can. Also, if you watched this video that far, it means that this is a very important topic for you. So please click that like button and subscribe to this channel so you will be notified of my next video. For more information on pre- and post-retirement related issues, check out my website aboutretirement.com.au. And while you are there, don't forget to sign up to my newsletter that comes out weekly and provides you with all updates you need to be aware of any changes that could impact your retirement plans. And now my video recommendations. The first lot of videos are all about the most efficient way to get ready for your dream retirement. All you need to know about savings in super. And it starts with a video how to salary sacrifice to super. The second recommendation is for you if you have already retired. Full list of my retirement videos, with the first one being the most watched 9 ways to hide money from Centrelink. So keep watching and learning. See you in my next video. Bye.